something that I've never expressed, I guess, about this whole conundrum with custody. I think the reason that my mind is so blown by my children choosing the unsafe parent is because I didn't. And I've seen kids. I'm in a group, like a social media kind of group for women mothers who've experienced child and mother sabotage, typically known as parental alienation. They're trying to rebrand it and reframe it because of the history behind that phrase. We won't go into all that today. There aren't many people quite like me in the group. A lot of people are still suffering through what they call court-sanctioned abuse. What that means is they force you to keep co-parenting with your abuser, and he just uses the children like bullets in a gun to keep abusing you. And then he may abuse you as well. But still, I'm in a group with a lot of women who experience this. And what blows my mind is, aside from the children who are just so damaged and struggling with mental and behavioral health issues as a result of it, there are children, like there's actually kids protesting on TikTok and stuff. They get family members and stuff to try to help them post videos because a lot of white kids that go through this, they get sent to reunification camps to be reunified with their abuser. And it's really very similar to like a conversion camp, trying to indoctrinate and brainwash the child to no longer report abuse about their abusive father. Reunification camps, Google that one. I've never seen that happen to Black children, though. It's a different dynamic that happens with us in the family court. So at any rate, these children, you see them kicking and screaming, fighting tooth and nail as they get dragged from their homes, the safe home with their safe parent, the mom in these cases. I would have been that type of kid. And it's just surprising to me. I really never imagined that my children wouldn't be that type of kid. When they were in Cincinnati, they were always like running away and like trying to fight for their own rights and safety. It's very disheartening because I just never imagined. I could understand feeling defeated and like giving up the fight. But what I couldn't understand is the flip-flop from fighting for what's right and just and fighting for your own protection to now like literally turning on your safe parent and being willing to lie in the parenting investigation and, lie in order to help your dad win custody, or not custody, but win the motion to relocate. It's a leap. Like there was a middle ground. You could have just refused to do anything, even if you felt tired and defeated and recognized that the system was not protecting us. Then you give up. You don't completely switch to the other team and betray your mother. And that's what my kids did. Like they contributed to the lies that were in that document, like their testimonies. I was just like, where did this come from? Who, what? I was absolutely flabbergasted at the accusations on that paper. And I'm like, did they really say this stuff? Or did somebody put these words in their mouth and embellish it to make it look better? I was floored. And I gave them the benefit of the doubt because I didn't want to believe they would lie like that. I didn't do that as a kid. I was raised by the same type of parent. And yet when she would try to get me to lie, and I wouldn't do it. I refused. And I brought up what I was learning in church and the commandments and things. And I would tell her, like, I can't do that. I'm not doing that. And I never got in trouble. And in hindsight, I realized I was a kid who was very much like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. That's their slave names, but their Hebrew names are Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. I was very much like those children. And if you know the story, then you understand they were protected in the fiery furnace. I was raised in the fiery furnace, and I was always saying what I wouldn't do because it was a righteous form of rebellion. The Most High always protected me. And I thought I was raising kids like that. Sometimes they seem like that, but it's like a lukewarm thing because even though they went to great lengths to remain in contact with me, they also still want to live with him. So it's like a lukewarmness. I was not lukewarm. I've just never been like that. Um, and I also was the kid who I ran away probably at least once a year between ages 4 to 16. I wanted nothing more than to get away from that woman. And I was the same way in my marriage. Once I got in it, I wanted out. Ooh, the regret. Um, but I ran away all the time as a kid. And it finally got to the point when I was 16 where I don't know how I learned of it, but I learned that at 16 I was old enough to be emancipated. And I looked her in the eye one time. She was trying to box with me, trying to beat the living daylights out of me. And I just finally said, look here. Not only am I old enough to move out, but because you didn't have me taking care of your child all these years, I know how to take care of myself. So, like, this is what it's going to be. Keep your hands off me, woman. This is ridiculous. And it's like, now, look, I can't put my hands on you back because I'm supposed to honor you. But what you're not going to do, I guess I just always assumed I would have kids like me. They seemed like they were like me before they left. I thought they were the type of kids like me who would run away, keep fighting for your rights, tell, run, do whatever you got to do. And something different, more lukewarm than I was. They haven't made their decision yet. They haven't made up their mind. That actually makes this all very much more difficult because, like, I'll be trying to figure out, I don't want to create a transactional relationship since we can't have a real relationship. I have to be careful and use discernment and wisdom trying to figure out how much to send, what do I pay for. I don't want to train them to just expect, one of those deadbeat parents who just sends money. I don't want to be that kind of parent, even though that's what he's tried to force me into that position. Anyway, it creates some very strange dynamics. Satan is the author of confusion. That's what it boils down to. It creates confusion for me as a mom because, like, I want to do things. I want to provide certain things. And it's just complicated. I already know the outcome in terms of when you overcompensate for a narcissistic parent. The children learn to undervalue and disrespect the safe parent who's overcompensating. They take you for granted. And you continue to help make the other toxic parent look good. You become an enabler. You become you participate in the injustice. And you end up making that parent look good. But if you pull out and stop overcompensating, then the kid suffers. But what I've learned, now that they're older especially, in some ways they need to suffer. You need to come to yourself and recognize that you made the wrong choice when you lied on me and you lied on that paperwork. You got to learn from that. You have to learn the consequence, or otherwise, then I become indirectly responsible for leading you astray and teaching you the wrong way teaching you that lying was okay and that perverting the course of justice. Like, it's just so many perversions in here that I walk a fine line trying to figure out how to communicate from 1,100 miles away that I love you and I still have healthy boundaries. Love has healthy boundaries. I'm not going to use money to try to communicate my love to you. And I've tried to communicate that. Like the other day I explained, I'm a real parent. I want a real relationship with you guys. And the other thing that helped me was some things I had been studying in the scripture recently. When I did those videos on inheritance and covenant, all of my study on that actually it gave me clarity on the concept of inheritance and how, like, when you're in covenant with the Most High, you can't expect to just fleece him for money and, provision when you're not in covenant with him and you're not living in his house, in his house, living by his rules. And the more I kept studying that and saying it, and then I started saying it on the lessons, and I was just like, wait a second, I think this applies to me and my kids. Let me reevaluate, because I just started giving stuff and paying stuff and covering stuff. And I'm just like, hold on, whoa. Like, let's rewind this a bit. This is getting out of hand. it after a while you start to feel like you're, what's the word? It just starts to feel like being exploited because I can't have a real relationship with them. I don't understand the parents who are like cool with that, throwing money at their kids. I used to homeschool and we used to do devotion time and have whole conversations, deep conversations, trying to teach them discernment according to Yah's word. I am not the kind of parent that just wants to throw money at my kids. Are you kidding me? That would be an insult. So, it's just been complicated trying to figure that out because I don't want to see them like suffer. I think that's ridiculous. And I don't want to see them repeat cycles. I would love to intervene and show them that's not how you're supposed to be treated. But even after doing that for a couple of weeks, my daughter turned around one day and texted me, he's a good father and he's like a cut above the rest. Something she said like that. And I was just like, are you serious? The audacity. As you sit here texting me, asking me to buy things that he told you he would buy and never did. This is the man you're saying is such a good man. And it was definitely given, he's a good man, Savannah. And I'm just like, already at this age, Lord have mercy. I don't even know how to help y'all. What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? My hands are tied. What am I supposed to do? Angelina Jolie took years to win a custody battle with an abuser. Millions of dollars. What am I supposed to do? I don't have thousands, let alone millions. This is a strange reality that I deal with periodically throughout the week. I can just be doing normal things and then little stuff will just, intrusive thoughts, I guess, pop up about my kids and stuff. And I question all the time, am I handling it correctly? I can confidently say that I'm, doing the best I can. And as I know better, I do better. And if I realize I'm doing something wrong, I undo it. That's all I can do. Because again, this is not exactly a common thing. I'm trying to figure it out the best way I know how, child. So I guess that's where you could just feel free to pray for me, honey. Good night or good morning, because it's about to be good night for me and good morning for y'all, wherever you are. Shalom.